Hey there everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Tycho, the author and artist behind One Pale Reflection. Today is pretty exciting because we're diving back into the world of Black Knife, and I'll be guiding you through the final steps of digitally painting his portrait. So buckle up and let's go. If you haven't watched the previous video, you can find it on my channel and it covers the sketch through to where we are now. Today is about those crucial finishing touches. I've already finished rendering his hair and his skin, which arguably are the most time-intensive portions of any portrait, and now we can move on to the clothing, the accessories, and the background. It's time to add depth, throw in a couple of sparkly fun special effects, and really finish out this piece. Okay, so let's dive into the mysterious world of Black Knife from One Pale Reflection. If you're new here, you've never seen his face before, and Black Knife is the anti-hero of the book. A lot of people really like him a lot, and I do too. He's one of my favorite characters, and I don't know, there's just something about him. It could be the small emo child within me that is in love with him, but it could be because he just feels really deeply. That's Black Knife's biggest strength and also his biggest weakness, is that he goes through a lot. The most important thing about Black Knife is his dagger, his namesake, which, by the way, he wields like an absolute professional. That's a big portion of his job, is being an assassin and being the guy who does all of the jobs that nobody wants to do for the big bad villain. This blade isn't just some fancy accessory, it's a grim reminder of his loyalty to Athos, or maybe it's more like a leash. I'm starting off in this particular piece by refining the shadows and highlights on the clothes. Clothes are really hard for me. I don't really like rendering wrinkles, and I do need to practice to get better at them. This hopefully will add some depth and dimension to the clothes, and will help Black Knife seem more lifelike and three-dimensional on the flat digital screen. Underneath his scarred and weary exterior, Black Knife's got quite the love story going on. He's head over heels for his betrothed, and that love is the very thing that ties him to Athos, his less-than-friendly boss and the main big bad of the book. He knows that any rebellion on his part would pretty much spell doom for his love, so he's very much so stuck between a rock and a hard place. Athos is very good at keeping Black Knife in place by threatening to do something to the woman that he loves, a woman named Ivy, and in order to protect her, Black Knife is really willing to sacrifice everything every day to keep her safe. Safety, though, doesn't really mean much when you're in a cage, and often Ivy finds herself in the dungeon to be used effectively no more than a bargaining chip for Athos to push Black Knife around. Alright, so at this point, effectively all of the rendering is done, and I like to go in and clean up the line work in a way that makes everything super soft. I enjoy having lines in my work, but I also like to add a little bit of color to the lines, especially where there are what I like to call soft materials, so that includes skin, hair, and also any soft metals as well. I typically leave the clothes alone because otherwise the character does get lost, and I do want some of the line art to show through, but that's just the balance that I've found. I really do like Black Knife's outfit here. He looks a lot different than he did when I envisioned him when I was like 15 and I started writing this book, and he's really come a long way. I'm very proud of how this character looks. If you're into the bad boys, this guy is definitely for you. He is very crusty and has gotten his hands dirty throughout his life. Kidnappings, sending spine-chilling threats, and assassination are definitely not off the table. A lot of people, when they talk about Black Knife, refer to him as ugly, but he's not exactly ugly in the traditional sense, clearly. The thing is that his face has become the symbol of all of the dark deeds that he's done. When people see him, they are immediately reminded of why they should be afraid of the dark. Behind all of the danger and the drama, though, Black Knife is just a guy in his early 30s trying to navigate life's crazy twists and turns. He's stuck in this never-ending thriller movie where the lines between good and bad get blurry, and the real battles are the ones that we fight within ourselves. Okay, but can we take a second and just talk about how good that blood came out? I normally am kind of bad at painting blood. It's more viscous than a lot of the other stuff that I end up painting, like tears and water and stuff. I'm very happy with it. You'll definitely notice too that I zoom in and out a lot to check the overall balance, the composition, and to make sure that my level of detail is good. Sometimes when I'm too zoomed in, I get lost in the one thing that I'm working on, and it helps me to just back way out, and sometimes even step back away from my monitor to look at it. Finally, we can move on to the background elements. I honestly wasn't really sure where I wanted to go with this, but when I got to this stage in the painting, I had originally thought I was just going to leave it just the red background and that was all. The more I looked at it, the more I was like, oh, I need something in here to add a little bit of an element of interest, and my brain was like, oh yeah, you should do a wrought iron fence, and I was like, alright, let's go. I think the fence really ties the whole thing together, especially because Black Knife himself feels really caged within his own circumstances. He is not only emotionally bound to what he's doing, but also very much physically bound to the situation that he's stuck in. And now we get to the fun part, the magic. This dagger is magically enchanted, and yes, it does end up in Black Knife's chest at least twice in the book, so if you want to know why that happens, how he survives, all of that good stuff, you can definitely give One Pale Reflection a read, but this thing is magic, it is enchanted, and it is bad news. And there we have it! Black Knife in his fully realized digital splendor. I am thrilled with how this turned out, and this particular piece was put on a t-shirt that was an exclusive release to people who had ordered the book before its launch. And even though the Kickstarter failed, there was such a massively positive reception to this book. I was blown away, and I cannot thank everyone enough for welcoming One Pale Reflection with as much glitter and confetti as there was. If you're interested in reading more about Black Knife, you can learn about him on my website, or you can find the book on Amazon. As always, thank you for watching my videos. If you like the content, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss any future content, and give the video a like to let people know what you think. Stay creative, stay weird, and I'll see you next time.